All right, we are now joined by Dale Earnhardt Jr., driver of the number 88 Diet Mountain Dew Chevrolet. Dale, you won your first race here in the fall and have a driver rating of 101.2, which makes Martinsville your best track in terms of loop data. What about the track lends to your driving style?
Well, I do enjoy racing the short tracks. I think that in general I've done better on the short tracks than any other tracks. You know, first time I came here, I hit everything, even the pace car. But you know, it looked like at that time, after my first race here, that it was going to be quite a challenge to sort it out and understand what I needed to do. And then me and Tony Jr. and Tony Sr. come up here and tested, you know, 02, 01, 03, sometime around there. And we hit on some stuff and was really good for a long time. Just ran a lot of good races, finishing in the top 5 quite a few times. And it's been one of my favorite tracks ever since. But I love the action, and I love the, you know, just the short track mentality. And you just get, but you know, the secret really is to have a good car. Have a car that has good drive off, rolls the center real nice. You got to kind of take care of the tires, which I learned quite a bit about here. Trying to keep your rear tires on it up off the corner is really important for the long run. So it took several races really to get an understanding of what you needed to do here to be good.
All right, we'll open it up to questions. Please state your name and affiliation, and we'll start up front with Mike Hembry and then go to the back with Kelly Crandall.
Mike Hembry, USA Today. Dale, when a driver does really good at a particular track, like Jimmy and Jeff have done here and Harvick at Phoenix, is that generally more about the driver adapting to that track, or is it more about the cars doing well?
A little bit of both, I think. I think that Jeff's ran good here with several different crew chiefs, so that probably says a lot about him as a driver for this particular track. Jimmy seems to have a knack for understanding what he needs out of his car to be fast, so I'd give him a lot of credit for his success here. Harvick's been quick everywhere. I think he's a better driver than we ever imagined when he was with RCR, and I think, you know, now that he's with one of the better crew chiefs in the garage, he's able to really show his true potential and his true ability. And he's good everywhere. I mean, he's won here. He's won at a lot of different tracks, and he's starting to rack them up here now that he's got his team really peaked out. But I think that, you know, when a driver is successful at one track specifically, it probably is a lot of confidence. You know, the driver's understanding of the track and the tire wear and what he's looking for in his balance during practice and how the track changes. Everything about the track maybe fits his style or he feels real confident and comfortable with. That shows with certain drivers specifically.
All right, in the back to Kelly Crandall.
Kelly Crandall from PopularSpeed.com. Dale, after we leave Daytona, the consensus always is the real season starts going to the second race of the year. This year we went from Daytona to a couple mile and a half, the mile at Phoenix, and last week the 2 mile in Fontana. Did you like that stretch of racing to start the season? Do you think it was a better indication than maybe years past of who the contenders and so to speak pretenders are going to be?
I think it's a little early to tell who's who. We seem to start pretty strong over the last couple of years, but you never know who's going to be, you know, peaking at the right time when the chase comes around, and it's hardly the same group of guys that are running well at the start of the year. And fortunately last year we were one of those guys. We took off, started really well, and we didn't finish well. So you know, it just depends on what you learn through the summer stretch and how you apply that to your car and whether you can learn enough and be competitive enough when it counts. I did enjoy the West Coast swing, and think that the schedule's been pretty fun so far. The little changes that they made to it's been pretty nice.
We'll go to the gentleman in the white shirt and then to Lee Spencer.
Hi, Dale. Kenny Beck, WXII NBC in Greensboro, Winston-Salem. You may have already seen him out there. Curious for your thoughts on the new tire barriers right in front of pit road. And obviously in the aftermath of Kyle Busch, been about a month or so. Are you surprised that there are still spots in some tracks where there's absolutely nothing besides concrete, places where drivers could potentially end up?
I think that, the changes that were made in the last 10, 15 years to help safety have been great. We put barriers where we felt like, were common places the cars hit, but as we found out over the last couple of years specifically, we'll find all the empty spots where there aren't any barriers. I think that, NASCAR is taking some steps to make it right, and the tracks are taking some steps to move along. You never can be safe enough, never can do enough to be safe and keep the competitors safe, keep the fans safe. You never can do enough, so you should never stop trying. But unfortunately, it takes an accident like that to wake everybody up and make things happen. I know that NASCAR was very disappointed that there wasn't a safer barrier on the wall at Daytona and that Kyle was injured. And, it's really unfortunate to have to go through that whole process to really fire this thing kind of back up and get people moving on it. But I at the same time I appreciate the things that they're doing, and I know that this is all the tire stuff's temporary. The tires are better than the concrete wall, but at the same time those tires can be a problem when you get into those. If the car's no telling what direction that car is going to go when it hits the tire barrier. It's better than the wall for sure, but nothing's better at this point than a safer barrier. So I guess their intent over time is to get safer barrier where they feel like they need it, and until then we'll have these tires in those areas. So I'm happy with the things the tracks are doing. I've always felt it's sort of you look back at the cockpit of these cars when I first started driving them and look at the advances that we've made inside the cars and outside the cars. And I never, when I was racing in 98, 99, 2000, when I was racing late models without headrests and neck restraints, I never once was worried about anything ever happening to me. And, you get complacent. I think you never, you look back at how stripped down the safety was inside the cars years ago, and we didn't worry about it then. And I think over time you kind of get a little complacent. You do a lot to get better, get safer, and then maybe you get complacent and you think you have enough. And there's just never enough. We should always keep trying. And it's evident, unfortunately, when someone's injured. But, we've done a ton of stuff over the last several years that we need to be proud of, thankful for, appreciative of. But, it's weird how, you're just looking back over time, and I never got into a car worried about my safety, and we've came a long, long way. We got headrests wrapped around us and harnesses and 6, 7, 9-point harnesses. We got straps going everywhere. We can hardly be comfortable in the cars with so many damn straps down there. But you just got to keep trying, I guess, is the message that we're all learning, is we got to keep trying to improve all the time. Never really let it plane out, and always keep trying to improve.
All right, we'll go to Lee Spencer and then Jim Utter.
Lee Spencer, Motorsport.com. Can you talk a little bit about Cole and Chase, both coming here this weekend? Cole, obviously, your new truck operation, and Chase making a start. And have you ever had a season when you kind of felt like everything clicked like Harvick had? I mean, short of winning the championship.
Not really. I don't think many people have had a season or had a last 16 months like Harvick's had. He's had Yeah, they should have won so many races last year. They had the same speed that they had this year. They just had these little gremlins and bugs that were biting them and costing them a lot of victories because they should have won so many races last year that they didn't win. They're completing these races now, and it's obvious to everyone how good they are, and they'll be that way all year, I expect. So, and Kevin, he's a good guy. He's great for the sport. He's a great representative of the sport. So I enjoy, a guy like that doing well because I think it helps the sport and it's healthy for the sport because he has a great mind inside the car and outside the car. He's very sharp about the direction the sport's going. As a business, safety-wise, he's got a lot of great ideas and is just a great ambassador for us drivers and for the sport. But for Chase, I hope he can get his opportunity to get this car in the race today. I know he's excited about the opportunity to race, and he probably isn't very nervous at all. He's, every opportunity he goes and races something, or the late model or what have you. So he probably looks at this as just, a trip to the Snowball Derby or something like that when he's not running his Xfinity car. So I think he's probably pretty relaxed and just hoping that he gets an opportunity to run some laps today.
All right, Jim Utter, and then we'll go to the back to Matt Weaver.
Jim Utter, Charlotte Observer, kind of following up on the Chase question. You've seen a lot of drivers come into the series at a young age. Some have succeeded, like Kyle Busch, some have not. What gives you confidence that Chase, even if he doesn't start this weekend, but whenever, that his journey into the Cup Series at a young age will be a successful one?
I think it'll be successful because he's been good in several types of cars, driving several styles of different horsepower, different horsepower to weight ratios, and different tires and track surfaces. So he's been an observer of the sport for a really long time as a kid going to these races. So I think he understands a lot about the sport. He's not running into a lot of things that are surprises to him. He knows exactly what's coming around every corner outside the car as much as inside the car. I think that's why he really doesn't get shook up all that well, because he kind of sees all this stuff coming. And I don't know, he's just a good little driver. Puts great corners together and does a good job behind the wheel. So I anticipate him getting into basically a turnkey operation that's a top 5 team, and he's not going to have to wonder whether the car's good enough or he's going to get in cars that are going to drive good, and that's going to really excel his learning curve because he'll be in stuff that's doing what it's supposed to be doing. He's not going to have to wonder what he's looking for as far as the feel and balance of the car. It's going to be pretty close, and that's going to help him and assist him to get himself up to speed and understand how to drive the cars. Then he's also drove Cup cars before in testing for us, so it's not like it's going to be a new animal to him. I expect him to have fun. He's going to be a handful. He's going to be up there running with us and racing for positions, and I expect him to be a great teammate and a lot of fun to work with.
All right, Matt Weaver.
Matt Weaver, PopularSpeed.com. When looking at you in victory lane here last fall, it felt very similar to seeing you at both of your Daytona 500 victories. It seemed like you almost kind of put that on the same level. So now that you had time to let it kind of sink in, where does that victory rank even with the Daytona 500s? And a second question, you were talking about Chase and late models, and you've said in the past that you want to go run late models after your NASCAR career is over. How much would you like to run the one here in October?
The late model race?
Yes.
I don't even know if I'm going to bring my cars back because of that the 10-lap caution with 10 laps to go, man. We just can't afford to tear our shit up every time we come down here. So, I mean, my drivers love it. It's a prestigious race, but it's killing us to come in here and run every year. Otherwise, without that caution, it's pretty awesome. It's just a tough deal for us to we know that if we even get that far, we got a high chance of tearing our car up. Anyhow, it's hard to rank your wins. It's hard to rank Daytona win against a Martinsville win. You want them both pretty bad. You want the next one on the list that you haven't got. And had never won at Martinsville before last year. I ran some great races here and came kind of close. I mean, when we run second or third or fourth or fifth, we got outran pretty good that day by someone else. But to have so many good runs here and do so well at this track and not have a win, that was pretty frustrating. I think we ran 30 races here before we won finally. So I was getting pretty frustrated because I wanted one of those clocks pretty bad. But it's hard to rank them against the Daytona races. I had the same elation and same satisfaction and enjoyment out of it as the Daytona race, and as any victory really. I had as much fun winning here. There's something about the racetrack. Obviously, it's got so much history. The style of racing that you do, and it takes some driver to win here. I don't often take a lot of credit for everything we do good out there, but I'll say that at Martinsville it does take a little bit of driver to do well here. So I feel like when you win at certain tracks like Martinsville, you can feel good about it, that you were part of that puzzle and part of making that happen. Whereas when you win at Daytona, you're relying a lot on that race car to do a lot of the work and get you out of some sticky situations. So we had a great car and we had some great strategy, and I felt like I drove a good race, and it just worked out. Jeff was a lot faster than us, but it just worked out for us on those last few restarts where we got around those guys quicker than he did. But it just it's a real historic racetrack, and I always it was one of the racetracks that I always could come to. Even when we were in school, it being such a short trip from home, we always did get to go to this race. So I had been, it's one of the few tracks that I always got to go to, even as a young kid. So, and you could get right up on the action, man, right against the fence down there in the corner, and see the guys coming through there in practice, and you could see the balance of the cars and what they were dealing with, and just a fun place to be at, even as a kid. So, I don't know, man. Just been coming here a long time. I always wanted to win, and that clock makes it even more special and more desirable, I guess, because of the uniqueness of that trophy.
All right, we'll go to Jay and then finish up with Claire.
Jay Pennell with Fox Sports. I got two questions for you. You talk about coming here a long time. Obviously, the big news of the weekend is the hot dogs. Have you had one of the new hot dogs, and what's your thoughts on that?
I was wondering why this room was so full. I figured it was the hot dogs. Everybody's here covering the hot dogs. I'm going to have one. I guess Gluck said that on Twitter they're the same. All right. Well, I mean, I'm fine with that. I kind of like them to begin with, and if they're anywhere close, it'll be fine with me. I'll probably be having 2 for lunch, and I'm going to call it a day.
And my second question is, you talked about the safety innovations that the sport has made. We're getting to the point where almost we see a huge push in the tracks getting the safer barriers now. You talk about the innovations in the head and neck restraints, the belts, the wrap around your head. Do we get to a point where we're looking for other innovations and we hit like a mark where you talk about getting complacent, but is there an end point to the safety conversation?
Not at all. We probably. We don't know this today, but we probably we're probably only 1 foot in a 100-yard race on how good these headrests and head restraints can get. I mean, it looks great and it's doing a good job now, but there's so much more to understand and learn and improve on these things, and there's a lot to be understood and improved on. How does a driver know what's the safest, belt, helmet? There's all kinds of things that we can improve on as far as the protocol and the steps we take to understand as drivers and understand with NASCAR what's the best scenario for us as drivers. Everybody wears something different. Everybody likes a different harness. Everybody has their headrest cut and shaved differently and in a different position, left to right, and height-wise. I mean, everybody does it to their own comfort. And they do, NASCAR does a good job of bringing us in at Daytona every year and showing us what they've studied and what they've learned and why we're doing this, why they're asking us to change to something else, or why they're bringing in something new. So they do a good job of giving us that information and trying to help us understand it. But yeah, I mean, we're just like we've only just scratched the surface on how safe the headrest can be, and how, where we are with harnesses, we keep we keep improving and adding and changing that, and this stuff could look completely foreign to us 20 years from now, what we got now or what we have then. I don't think any of it's going to stay the same, and I mean, it shouldn't. I think we should always try to improve it, like I said, but one day we'll look back at what we have now and go, man, that's crazy. You believe you race with that? Because it'll be so much better 20 years from now, so much more improved, so much more understood about it. So, we just got what we have in there now, because it's the best option until we get something else, until we learn more, understand more, study, and something else comes out, and we'll be doing that, and this old stuff will go in the junk.
All right, we'll finish with Claire.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Dale, Ron Hornaday told me last night, he said, if you don't make somebody mad at Martinsville, you're probably not doing your job. He said he used to put his finger up 1, 2, and then on the third time the guy knew it was coming. And Tony Stewart said, there's so much drama because 43 cars in the field here, and each one has drama, so it's drama times 43, and there'll be a lot of that going on. What is the line between aggression and patience here as a Martinsville winner?
Well, I mean, you just sort of, it's case by case, it's whatever's happening at that moment, and whether you can rein in your temper and control your emotions. There's been races where, we've gotten about 100 laps in and had to dial it way back because we weren't going to have enough race car left after, 100 laps. We'd done tore the sides off of it. But then, and you get mad at guys, but you got to understand that, if you want to run over a guy 100 laps into the race, he's going to have 400 opportunities to get you back. And so, you got to know what you're asking for when you start to go pushing guys around. You better have a damn good reason, I guess, to go pushing guys around. And, a lot of guys, when they do something, if they do something out of line, they got to know it's coming. So sometimes you just kind of take it, and if you put a guy in a bad position or run over a guy accidentally running a little too hard or something, you just have to know it's you're going to get it back, and you just sometimes got to take it and go on and let that be the end of it, so you can get on with your race. But it's that's what makes it fun, I think as drivers we enjoy getting scrappy out there and rubbing on each other and moving each other around. You don't want to ruin somebody's race or put them in the fence, or I ran last year. I think I cut Jamie's tire down and trying to get under me in the middle of the corner. He left a big enough hole for me to get there, and then he came back down to shut the door, and I blowed his left rear tire out, and he ended up hitting a fence. And you don't want to do that to somebody because you wouldn't want that done to you. But I think we enjoy getting to be a little rough for a change because we can't do that on some of the bigger tracks. So to a point, you kind of look forward to it. You look forward to putting some donuts down the sides of these things.
Dale, thank you so much for coming in, and good luck this weekend at Martinsville.
Thank y'all.